Etsy wouldn't answer these questions, so I did. That sounds dramatic. What happened was a month or so ago, Etsy did a SEO webinar talking about Google SEO, and during that they had a Q&A place words. They had a Q&A place where you could put in your questions, and obviously it was such a busy webinar that Etsy couldn't answer all the questions. So I shall. This is the fourth of these. So if you're interested, there's more, but you can watch this one first. You don't need to watch them in order. I'm just going through the questions. I won't show the questions on screen because the people didn't agree to me to have their names shown up here. So we're just going to go through it. First question. Oh, here's a goodie. How has ChatGPT impacted SEO? It has and it hasn't. Let me explain. Firstly, ChatGPT is still behind and probably always will be. It's not got the most up-to-date data, and it doesn't really have SEO data. Even with all the plugins and everything, it itself, it's not as clever as we think it is. So I think it's very helpful. Because the first thing in SEO, the first thing is to be figuring out what people are looking for and what people are interested in. So it's got a wealth of data. It's maybe slightly out of date data, but it's got a wealth of data about what people are typing in to the internet from wherever it gets its research from. So it can give you some interesting ideas. However, you will probably have noticed that it's fairly generic, a bit. It's like the images. You can tell when something's an AI piece of art, even if it doesn't have 16 fingers or something. But you can tell by the way something's written, although it shouldn't have all these kind of obvious telltales, but you can just tell the turn of phrase that that's not a human turn of phrase. It's it's a conglomeration of all the average humans put together, and that doesn't make for a very good human. So in writing descriptions and things, it's a good helper, but it makes horrible websites. So if people are using it for their descriptions are barely used by Etsy, not really used. They're not overly important even. They're important in Google to back up that this is what it says it is, but there's no real benefit to there's no benefit. It's not good to keyword stuff your descriptions, and Chatty doesn't do that anyway. So it doesn't desperately help there. It might help you with some ideas to come up with different tags, to look down different directions. I find it really good for that. So has it impacted it like that? Yes, it could help you. At the moment, I have seen nothing. A couple of people have came to me and said that it embeds some kind of code. I see no way that it's doing that, no reason that it would be doing that. So I'll have to dig into that a bit more. But in general, Google isn't marking things and going, no, we are not going to rank you in search because that's a ChatGPT written description. But what it is doing is looking and going, have 20 other people got a description that sounds really similar to that? So is this potentially not new and interesting content that I can show to people? So the fact that ChatGPT does make things that sound very similar or does kind of accidentally plagiarize chunks of work, there's the possibility that Google would be like, nah, mate, we don't want to show that. But for on Etsy, no, it hasn't impacted SEO in the slightest yet. It's a tool. It's like saying, has Photoshop impacted SEO? No, but it's a tool, and some people who know what they're doing with Photoshop can make their listing photos look great, which might help more people buy, which might be good for that shop. ChatGPT is just a tool. You don't need to use it. It's not going to hurt or help you yet, but obviously going for, and don't just use what it gives you wholesale. We've seen that question a few times. Okay, here's a Nice one. I've one item that a lot of people favorited, but I don't get sales. Can you give me some tips on how to convert favorited to sales? Etsy would tell you. I'll do the Etsy answer first. You can set up a coupon that sends out automatically when someone favorites. You can send out a coupon to give them a discount. This is how we're training shoppers on Etsy to expect Etsy to be a bargain basement. This annoys me. I predicted this like years ago when all of this came in. And in the last financial report, Etsy were saying, now it seems that Etsy buyers like cheap things. You trained them. Anyway, I'm gonna say that's my sack for the day. It totally isn't. I'm going to be more salty, but so that is something you can do. You don't have to do it. I don't particularly like it, but people will favorite things for multiple reasons. One of the reasons might be they're looking to see if they get a coupon. That is not me saying that they'll only buy if they get a coupon. Not well, they might only buy if they get a coupon, but they're not buying everything they favorited. It's like oh, 40 people sent me a coupon. I'm going to buy that one. So, yes, it could be a strategy. If it works for you, let me know. I'm too grumpy to use it just now. But other things is look into perhaps the keywords that people are finding you from or the places. If the keywords don't necessarily match up, if someone is searching for fun child's ring and your wedding ring is showing up in that search, then people might be favoriting it because it's pretty, but they might not be going on to buy it because it was out of the price range of things that they were thinking for. So if you're showing up in places that aren't great for you, certainly go into your ads and maybe turn off those keywords if you can. Look and make sure that your SEO isn't putting you in the wrong place. Otherwise, yeah, just forget about it. If it's not a bad thing if people are favoriting. If they saw you from somewhere else and favorite, it could be, oh, that's a thing I hadn't thought of. I don't have the budget for it just now, but I'm going to save it for Christmas. So that's not a bad thing. And again, yeah, prices. I'm not saying drop your prices. What I am saying is if you have an item that's a 50-cent pin, there's not much difficulty holding people back from buying it. If they were searching for something, they click on it and they go, yeah, that's awesome. 50 cents, add to cart. Don't even think about it. If you are selling a $10,000 wedding dress, you're going to need a lot more views and a lot more favorites before people actually buy, because they have to think about it more. You have to, on the high street, you have to walk past that shop and fall in love with the thing every day and really think about it and get your financial ducks in order to make sure that you're really going to buy it. So again, it's not a bad thing. Generally, I don't worry about favorites at all. I don't even look at favorites. I don't care about it. That's a thing for the buyer to use however they want to use. It can be compiling things, it can be researching competition, it can be trying to get a coupon. I don't worry myself about favorites, but you're looking at how to convert. Now, a lot of people have favorited or a lot of people have liked might not be that much. I remember when I started on Etsy and you got like maybe 4 or 5 views and you're going, why aren't people buying? Yeah, not enough of them. It's reckoned that an average for online retail is about a 2% conversion. That's for like everything. So for every 200 people looking at your item, maybe 4 or 5 people are going to be buying. So look at getting more people in. Look at sorting out your SEO to make sure you're in front of the right people, finding the right keywords, and then making sure that you have awesome photographs and your titles and everything aren't too confusing so that people are more likely to click on your items, up the number of people that visit. And then the final thing, when they click on it, make sure that your listing isn't too confusing. Make sure all your shipping times and everything makes sense. It has to be what it has to be. But I know at the minute in time, I think my shipping's like showing at 6 months. I'm sort of throttling my shop a little bit by that. I know that. So make sure everything makes sense there and is clear. Don't have too many options. If someone clicks on a picture and goes, I want that picture, and you say, we've got variations, and message me with this thing and let me know this and let me know that, and you're like, I just wanted that one. How do I get that thing that I looked at? So that can be a thing that stops you converting, is if your listing's too confusing, if your description is an absolute nightmare, if you use GPT and you haven't checked it and it's saying some random things that aren't anything to do with your listing, because ChatGPT doesn't know about your listing as well as you do. So things like that, like lack of attention to detail, can put people off. Pictures that aren't showing the full story can put people off. So you just do your best, but you're not going to go from every person who favorites your item buys it. That is never going to happen. So you just look to increase things a little bit, increase everything a little bit, make the changes, come back in a couple of months and see if you have gone from 2% to 2.1% conversion or something. Okay, right. Should I delete the duplicated versions of my listing, since you say they can make it harder to be found by the algorithm? I can't answer that yet. In this, I've got a whole video on this about customer support. You want to check that out. But in this webinar, they mention some things that are directly contradicted by other parts of Etsy's handbook and everything. So I am in contact with Etsy and I'm trying to find out about this. But if anyone heard this webinar and it said a thing about your listings, don't be deleting your listings or completely changing up your shop based on the advice that you were given there. I will let you know when I'm allowed to tell you the truth about all of this. I lost my voice. Wow, that's a really lost voice. Voice, come back to me. Whoa. Does changing tags and descriptions completely reset the listing's placement? And if so, how long does it take for the algorithm to reset it? Changing your descriptions doesn't change your listing, really. It doesn't change its placement in search. It doesn't change the optimization of your SEO. Changing your tags. Okay. We generally advise, as in me and the people that I work with at eRank and everything like that, and this is not Etsy speaking, just to be clear, we generally advise not changing your best performing listings. This is not because if you go in and change anything in it, it'll immediately reset the algorithm and you'll be thrown out of the algorithm and you'll lose all your sales. It's because, firstly, if it's your best performing listing, it's doing the best. So go and deal with other things and make them better. But if you change your tags, there is the chance that you take out of your tags the thing that was explaining to Etsy that it should show you in this place. So if you changed a completely irrelevant tag, a tag that, excuse me, a tag that really has nothing to do with how you're getting found in search, it shouldn't make any difference at all to your placement for the things that are working in search. But if you accidentally removed something that was backing up your keywords to say, absolutely, this is what this item is, then now Etsy takes a couple of days to notice it. I think they said in this webinar that Google will crawl it. It'll usually be seeing it in about a week. But if you immediately renew your listing, then you sort of get spotted even a wee bit quicker. And it could be that the tag that you removed has the algorithm saying, hey, is that item still a ring? This listing might have changed. No, I'm not seeing the same signals. It got loads of sales for ring before, but it no longer says ring anywhere. I don't know if this is a ring. I don't know where to show it. So you might crash out of search. But if you changed from Christmas to Easter and you weren't getting sales for Christmas or Easter, but you were getting sales from ring and everything else that's telling Etsy it's a ring is still there, it shouldn't make a difference. But we are not 100% ever sure. It's not just the word ring. Etsy does take contextual, it understands that different words can mean different things, like sweater, pullover, jumper. It understands that they're all kind of similar thing. So it understands the meaning of some words. So some of your words that don't say the thing that you're being searched for still might be helping you get found in search. So it's not a case that the algorithm goes, oh no, everything's changed, let's throw it out and start from scratch. If nothing has changed that was helping the algorithm understand what your listing was, it'll be fine. If things have changed and the algorithm no longer understands what your listing is, then yes, it could seem like it's been reset. Just don't touch it. Okay, we don't get the full question here, but the person asks, how does this affect one-of-a-kind shops? And Etsy, in your search questions answered, the article do talk about one-of-a-kind shops. People think if you have a one-of-a-kind shop, you're penalised on Etsy. Now, it is a thing, and Etsy do tell us that listings can build a quality score. So this listing, when it sells and is relisted, and when it gets good customer feedback and stuff, this helps this listing rank in search. So that does sound bad for one-of-a-kind shops. However, it also tells us when you put up a new listing, it also looks at other listings in your shop to see how similar listings did, and even similar listings on Etsy. And also your shop itself has a quality score based on a lot of good things as well. So if you have a lot of good sales, then all of your listings will rank a little higher. So one-of-a-kind shops can still do well, but it is tough if you are against a digital shop that's selling and relisting that listing all of the time. It could be an issue. To me, well, one thing that you can do, you might be a one-of-a-kind shop, but you don't have to be only that. If we're wanting to make money from what we're doing, we have to look at the rules of the platform we're on, and there is no denying that Etsy likes listings that can sell and relist. Some shops do well without doing this, but Etsy does like this. So, for example, in my shop, everything I make is handmade, needle felted sculptures from no patterns. Everything is unique. However, there is certain items that I can make fairly quickly, and I can make more than one of. They're not identical, but like my corgi butt bookmark, I can make more of them. So I can have a listing that sells and relists, and I can use that same listing and just be saying that your item will be made for you. It'll be similar to this, but there'll be slight variances because everyone is unique. Make it a selling point. And that listing can build up a listing quality score. The other thing, I know some great art shops. Their one-of-a-kind artwork is amazing, and it's also the kind of thing that only so many people can buy a full hand, oil painting. However, they also have in their shop prints. They have in their shop notebooks with their a scan of their image on the front of the notebook and things. So basically, they have print on demand of their own things. So people are able to come and go, oh, I love that. I wish I could afford it. Oh, hang on. I can get a phone cover with your artwork on it. So that's something that can sell and relist. So there's always ways. It's possible, but it's easier if you think of ways to have listings that can sell and relist. What you don't want to do is, say you do a painting of a dog and that sells, and you go, okay, this listing has a good listing quality score because it's had a sale. It's had a sale for $2,000. So Etsy really loves this. So I have this painting of a house. I'm going to put that on there, change the pictures, change the SEO, and it's going to do great. It's not, because your listing quality score is based on the search terms that people found you for. So now Etsy's going to be going, hey, suddenly everyone hates this cat listing, and it doesn't, or dog, or whatever I just said, and it doesn't say dog, and I don't know what it is. I don't know where to show it. I don't understand if it's a good listing. I wanted to add as well, for vintage shops and things, this is also a possibility. I've seen some fantastic vintage shops that have a niche, and say it's kitsch cats. You can have, you can go and search and find similar things, and then you've got customers that come back to you and go, this here is the best place to come for kitsch cats. And when people come into my house and they see this kitsch cat ornament and ask where I got it, I can go and buy it from this shop because they'll have something similar, because they've got a good eye for it. I hope that makes sense. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Duplicate the listing of the same product, but one in Spanish and one in English. Would it be best to just list one product with drop down offering a choice of language? Oh, yeah, that's Steve. I thought this was going to be a question for having the listing in Spanish or English, but it could be like, say, wall art or something in Spanish and English. That is a good question. If you have a shop that has wall art or print on, mugs or t-shirts, some in Spanish and some in English, I would say, because people are racist. No, people are, because of how people are, I think this is a very good case for two shops. I would pick up one and build it first, but I think people wouldn't like it so much to go into a shop and see some listings are in English and some things are in Spanish. That might be a little off-putting for some people. I would say two choices, two shops. But definitely, I don't think you would want a drop down offering a choice of languages. I might be wrong. I would experiment with this, but you're gonna. The thing is, if you have a drop down in both languages, if I was searching for a saying in English and the first listing I saw had a photo that said the saying in Spanish, sure, I could click on it and there'd be a drop down. I don't know that. I wouldn't go into a listing that's showing words in a language I don't understand. Good question. I've never actually heard that question before. Oh, can you tell us what Etsy is doing to protect sellers from spam emails? Some are very concerning as they threaten to close our stores. Etsy is doing a lot, and it's kind of difficult, and I should have mentioned this in other videos. I should mention this everywhere. They're putting a banner up on the top of messages to say this is from an Etsy buyer, this is not from Etsy staff, this is... The other thing they're doing, however, is they're automatically putting some messages into your spam folder. And this is a problem because this is new. Used to be you would have to spam things. You had the ability to say, no, that message is spam. It wouldn't count against you with your star seller or anything. But now Etsy is doing some kind of filtering, and sometimes some of your customer emails are being sent to spam. It might be because they included a link, or maybe they've messaged a lot of people, that they feel spammy compared to Etsy bots. So these messages are getting put into spam. It doesn't hurt your star seller, but it means customers are potentially messaging you, and if you don't know to check your spam, then you don't know. Also, on the Etsy app, I don't know how you look at your spam folder. I've looked and I've tried and I don't see it. So that could be a problem. But Etsy are working. They're definitely aware of this issue and doing stuff. The only problem is doing stuff always involves doing stuff that doesn't work 100%. There's no way to do everything 100%. Offering free shipping affects the SEO on Google. Not entirely. If when stuff's sent to Google, Google sees the price of shipping and the price of the item. Google really doesn't like if your title say free shipping or stuff like that. I don't think it makes a whole difference on Google, especially the free shipping guarantee is generally for US shops and orders over a certain amount of money. That Etsy says we get shown priority shown there. On Google, like anything, it'll only make a difference. It will generally make a difference if people are more likely to click on the listings that show free shipping. Basically, that's going to depend on customer behavior. Test it if you want to test it. I can't even read that question. Does the website that comes with the Plus subscription have any impact or advantages other than a domain name? Is the share and save also apply to a website through the subscription? Okay, so they're talking about the pattern site, which is the Etsy thing. You can get your own website through Etsy. Does it have any impact or advantages? I suppose it's easier. You're not going to rank better or anything. There's nothing great about it there. I'd say a disadvantage can be it's connected to Etsy, so you're building your entire business on that one sugary sandcastle. And if you're the main reason for having a website or something else is if you have trouble with Etsy and you lose your Etsy shop, you still have your website. But if you're doing it through Etsy and you lose your Etsy shop, you'll lose your website. But it's easier, and I suppose you could transfer it at a later date. Is the share and save also applying to a website through the subscription? If you use the correct links and they direct you to your website, I think it should work for the share and save. I haven't looked into the website too much, the pattern site, just simply because it's all your eggs in one basket. It's building your shop on a sandcastle, basically. Question about alt text. It's not only for blind people, but Google SEO. They did mention, and I've dug into this, and Google does see the alt text when it's talking about how it's going to show things up in image searches. So when you search for something and then you go to images, at the very bottom it mentions alt text. So read into that what you will. Should I put it in every photo? If you're doing it for SEO purposes, honestly, I've never seen anything other than the first photo show up in a Google search thing. It's not just for blind people, it's for visually impaired people. Put it in every photo if you can, if you have the time, if you think it helps your customers. If you've got 10,000 listings, you're not going to put it in every photo. I would prioritize, because it helps people, I would prioritize for your most popular listings, at least put it in the first photo, just to help people. How should we use alt text when listing? So if you've missed it, alt text is alternative text that you can put onto your listing photos. And this helps visually impaired people when they scroll their mouse over areas of a website. The alt text is read out by a screen reader that said this is what this is. So how you should use alt text, although teeny bit of an SEO advantage on Google, teeny, nothing on Etsy. Although there is that, what you want to be thinking of is how is it going to help the people that need it? So how should you use it is, if you had a visually impaired person sitting next to you and they said, what's in that picture? How would you describe it to them? There's a blue car on a red background. The car's facing to the left. There's a yellow flower above it. that kind of detail. You're describing what are these items that are in the scene. You're not keyword stuffing. Oh, yes, people were freaking out about the mention of the duplicated listings, and I understand. Does duplicating a listing, then changing the title and description, hurt the SEO? I sell vintage items and often duplicate a previously sold listing for new similar items. No, 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 no. Duplicate that, even in the terrible customer service that I got from Etsy, to create a new listing for a similar item, duplicating a listing is still a new listing. It has the same sort of quality score as an exactly new listing. So it doesn't hurt it at all. It's just literally a little help. Go copy this, so you don't need to fill in absolutely everything from scratch. If you change it, doesn't hurt you at all. It doesn't hurt you at all. I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, in another video, the seller suggested making duplicate listings and changing specific details like title or keywords to perform market research. Is this not a good idea? Yeah, this is the conflicting advice I was talking about. In this webinar that I'm answering the questions from, they said, no, it's important you don't do this. It hurts your SEO. In the handbook, it says, do this. It's a good thing to do. So this is what I'm trying to get to hear from Etsy about. In fact, if someone is working with me, and I hope to hear back from them, but I will link at the end to my video where I'm speaking about this. Etsy have seen the video, but if you're interested in this, go over, watch the video again, comment, Etsy, come on. And the more this video gets seen, then the more likely Etsy is to do something about it. I've answered that question several times. I pay for Etsy ads and Google ads for the same listing. Is it redundant to pay for both, or would it be helpful? It's not redundant. They're totally different things. Etsy ads are for on-site, on Etsy. So they're seen in the search. They're seen at the bottom of other people's listings. They're seen wherever Etsy decides it wants to put Etsy ads, but they're on Etsy. So they are a help for, basically, on Etsy, you have warm audience. This is people who are here and they're looking to buy. So it's good to be able to trap them. I'm not saying Etsy ads is a good or bad thing. I'm working on digging into trying to make it better. But Etsy ads is a thing where you've already got the mouse into the house. Now you want to trap it. This is an analogy that's not going to work very well. But Google ads or offsite ads, it's not just Google. If it's Etsy offsite ads, if you're paying for your own Google ads, I hope you know what you're doing. Very expensive, very difficult. Anyway, but offsite ads for Google, Facebook, everywhere that Etsy's advertising off of Etsy. Now, this can be a good thing because this is going to be bringing in people who aren't looking on Etsy. These are people who possibly never even heard of Etsy. So it's not redundant to pay for both because it's hitting different traffic, but you have to budget for it because Etsy ads charge if someone clicks on the ad, right? So you don't necessarily have a sale from it. So you can build up quite a cost in Etsy ads with people clicking and not buying, and so never have a sale. And then Google ads charge when you make a sale. So you could have been spending a fortune on Etsy ads, and then you've got the 12 or 15% of Google ads, so it can add up. So make sure your listings can hold that extra expense. But if with ads, don't just switch them on and expect sales. Go in, review the results and see what's going on, and they can be helpful. Is it helpful to drive more traffic and sales by opening 2 to 3 shops selling the same products? Now, this is one I can absolutely answer. It is against Etsy policy to have a duplicate shop. No, it will not be helpful to drive traffic. It is a very bad thing. Don't do that. There's this one I can answer quickly. What research tools do you recommend we use to gather valuable insights and data tailored to our Etsy shop, ensuring our listings are optimized for maximum visibility? Right, firstly, I will say, for those that don't know, I also work for eRank, but videos here are my own. Firstly, I would advise, most importantly for everyone, read the Etsy Seller Handbook, specifically the Ultimate Guide to Search. If you want to know if your listings are optimized, it tells you there. They're not lying to you. That is how Etsy Search works. So read it. Most important. Obviously, I'm going to say tools like eRank. Doesn't have to be eRank. I don't use other tools, not just because I work for them. I work for them because I don't use other tools, because basically I tried tools, I stick with the one that I like. I like eRank. It works for me. Look into tools, see if you like them, you understand them, use the free version, see if how they works for you, because we all have different styles. See if the advice you're getting from them works for you. I am going to put a caveat: for whatever tool you're using, don't go and change all your listings immediately. Don't go and change your best-selling listings. Don't go excited and go, oh, this says I should do this, that, and the other thing. Change everything and suddenly you get even less sales. Any advice on these kind of things, there's best practices, but they're not sort of carved in stone. So long as you're not breaking the rules, best practices, what works for one shop, for one group of customers, for one type of item, is going to be different from another shop. So one tool might tell you, make your titles this long. Another one might tell you, put this in your title. And that's because it works, but it doesn't work for everybody. So try out different things and see what works. We'll skip that one. I had missed how many people were saying this. You say duplicate listings cause issues, but Etsy's suggesting we duplicate listings to put into a gift section in our shop. It is. That was an article released by Etsy just a couple of weeks before this thing. I'm confused. I'm also confused. We're all confused. Watch the video, comment. Etsy's someone higher up in Etsy is looking into this for me. Is it better to have a listing that's made to order with a long lead time, or only list items that are ready to be sent? What's better? Right. Customers who are slow, late to order things, like to be able to get last minute things. So if you can have ready to ship items, it's a good thing to have. Made to order, if it's personalized, people expect they have to wait for it. There is also a thing in that if your shop is so popular and you're able to say, thank you to everyone who came over from TikTok. I've had a massive influx of orders. I'm so popular. You're going to have to wait a big deal of time. That can be sort of a social proof thing. If it's true, people are like, oh, wow, this shop is so popular, I'll wait. But in general, if your shop's not very busy, now what I mentioned earlier, my bookmarks that I can make and relist and everything. Every time I get an order for a bookmark, I make two and I put one away in the Christmas pile because I'm hopefully busier during Christmas. So you don't want to be sitting on a massive pile of stock. But if something is only made to order, it's not personalized, it's nothing different, it's a make and renew listing, have a couple of them and build up stock if it starts to be popular. No point having 100 of everything and not knowing what's going to sell. But if the thing starts selling, it's better to be able to just send it off, have a 1 to 2 days processing, ship the item. Someone else, that's interesting because the last video specifically told us to create duplicate listings. I wasn't the only person that spotted this. I'm even recognizing some names here. if I go into an existing listing today and I change title tags and alt text, how soon will this impact search? If you remove the things that were absolutely helping your listing, almost immediately. If it just helps you rank for a slightly different term in addition, or it makes your listing look a little more good for a customer, it could impact search immediately, but only by a tiny amount. And then as that tiny amount sort of compounds, as Etsy notices you're doing better and you get slightly more sales and you can sort of claw your way up this kind of ladder, then it could be weeks or months to see a big impact. I've found that myself. I see it all the time, that sometimes you've got some aspirational keywords that are too competitive. You're not going to rank for them yet. But the lower level, easy, low hanging fruit keywords, they start to get spotted and get sold. And it's not many, but it's enough. And Etsy goes, oh, hang on, people like this item. Let's show them to this midway competitive thing. Oh, they like it there too. Now let's show them to this highly competitive term. So little tiny improvements can compound. And also, the thing is, a lot of keywords not many people are searching for all the time. If you change things just now, you might be ranking in search. If you went and checked, you might be ranking in search for these new things, but not many people are actually searching. Your listing's still doing as well as it ever did, but come October and 16 times the number of people are searching for that, you suddenly blow up with sales. So it's really important not to be, especially at this time of the year, running around trying to get the exact SEO and going, change this. Oh, no sales today. Still no sales. Change it again. Etsy's not quick like that. Even people I know with super busy shops are only checking their listings once every 3 months or once every 6 months. Duplicating. Oh, that's interesting. The video told us to create duplicate listings. Should we remove listings that has no sales for 100 days or more? Do these listings affect my shop in a bad way? They're not affecting your shop in a bad way. If your listings were getting absolutely tons of views from certain search terms, doesn't matter if they're getting tons of views from offsite, they're getting tons of views from certain search terms and not getting any sales, that could impact you. I would look at that and be like, what's going on here? But if they're getting no sales and they're getting no views, they're not really hurting you. They're 20 cents every 3 months. They're not a big deal. There's nothing special about 100 days. I remember to look at my list. Some of my listings, they can go a year before I go, oh, you're a bit rubbish. You don't need to remove them. You can let them expire. They're not hurting your shop. It is also possible some listings only sell at a certain time of year. They're not hurting your shop by being up for the rest of the year. They're just there, and then they get tons of sales at the right time of the year. I've had listings do that. So it's not hurting you. You can revive them. You can go and have a look and go, if they never did any good and they're never getting any views, they're listings that you can't break. And you certainly can revive a listing. It's sitting there. Maybe it's got some links from Pinterest that people are finding you. It's not a load, but that's given Google's aware of it. It's around there, so you can improve things. Look at your SEO. Maybe even sometimes it's as simple as changing your picture for a better one. So I wouldn't say remove it. It's not hurt your shop, but maybe go and tweak it. Look into it. Does Google search use Etsy tags for SEO purposes? Yes, but Google tries to use everything it can for SEO purposes. But the problem with tags is tags are a thing that in general the customer doesn't see. They're metadata for the algorithm, and Google's smart and knows that people can manipulate that. The metadata for the algorithm is less important than the things that you give for the customer, because the things for the customer, and also how the customer responds to it. So everything in your listing, Google is kind of looking at, and it can tell what your picture is. Google has the ability to look at pictures and kind of know what they are and stuff. It knows if it shows your listing for something and people don't click on it or don't buy it, come back to the search again, it looks at a whole load of different things. Does Google search use tags? Yes. But remember, tags are there to back up everything else. They're not the most important thing. Is it helpful to repeat keywords in different places, title, description, and tags, or should I go for a wider variety of keywords? Yes, but this is sort of my answer to everything. Your title is the most important real estate, both for the algorithm, but also for the customer. But that's a good thing, because keywords are the words and phrases that the customer is using. So if you find the perfect thing, the perfect phrase that the customer is searching for, and your title says the thing that the customer searched for, when they look at your listing and search and it says that and it's clear, they're like, aha, that is exactly what I was looking for. That's not a dodgy listing. That's not a confusing listing. That's exactly what I want. So, keyword in your title, vitally important. Keyword stuff in your title, not necessary. Can work for some people, can work for others. Keyword in your description. Your keyword is the thing that the customers are searching for. So if your item, this is a terrible example of a keyword to be aiming for, but if your item is a wedding ring, if you're describing your item in your description, you would use the wedding ring because it's a wedding ring. So don't think of stuffing keywords into your description. Think of describing your item, and as the keyword is a descriptive phrase, you would be using it in your description. Etsy kind of uses the description, very little. Google uses the description, but very, very much is aware of keyword stuffing and hates, you don't just copy your title into your description. You don't stuff a load of keywords into your description, just tags. You type a description of your item in natural language that includes the keywords. And tags, Etsy tells us that your most important keywords should be in your title and tags. Etsy tells us this. I wouldn't, with your title, I wouldn't necessarily, you can have like your top 2 or 3 keywords in your title. You could maybe have some other words in your title, and those top 2 or 3 keywords should be repeated in your tags, and then you could have different tags to get a wider variety. But bear in mind, people are always like, oh, I want to hit everything with this listing. You want to hit a lot of things with this listing, but you can have more than one listing. You can test out things in different ways with more than one listing. Oh, more people asking about spam emails. It's a big thing. Oh, yeah. Love this question. How long after changing should you wait for A/B testing purposes? Great thing, right? A/B testing is what it says. You're testing if this picture or this picture works best, or this title or this title works best. How long should you wait? Great question. If you are getting 2 views a day, this is not unusual for a listing. If you're getting 2 views a day and you change a picture, and that improves the chance of someone clicking on your item by 10%, that doesn't mean you're immediately going to see the change. That means in 50 days, you might see a slight difference. It's going to be a slight difference, but the difference is compound. So love it. Yeah, A/B testing is a great thing to do, but be patient. You want to be looking at hundreds or thousands of views to be able to tell if there's a difference. So if your listing is getting thousands of views every day, don't change it unless it's really not selling. But if it's getting thousands of views every day, wait a week. If it's getting 1 view a day, wait a lot longer. The other thing, if you're testing keywords, if you're changing keywords, you can tell straight away by using a tool like eRank, or if you're clever enough to go into the Etsy API, you can investigate the Etsy API to see where Etsy ranks you free of all the personalizations of everything. So I see the looking at what the Etsy API is saying for where you're ranking as pretty much Etsy marking your SEO. So you can do that, within a day. Go in and look at what Etsy's saying, if it's improved your ranking or dropped your ranking. There's a good way to know that, but you don't know how that's going to impact the customer until it goes out there with the customer. Because even if you got all of your SEO perfect and Etsy says, yes, I'm ranking you in spot number 1. If after a couple of weeks of having you in spot number 1, no one's clicking and buying, Etsy doesn't care what words you put in your title and tags. Etsy says, yep, when I show that to customers for that keyword, they don't like it, so I'm ranking that lower. So yeah, it's a whole range of things. When posting multiple listings that feature the same product with different designs, is it better SEO-wise to use the same thumbnail image with the featured design for that listing, or should we change it across listings? The same product with different designs. I assume that kind of maybe means variations, but you're having several listings with it. If you have a listing that has a drop down for several variations and it's doing really well and everything, then that's cool. But you'd maybe look, if people are picking a variation that's not your main photo, then I would maybe make another listing with that variation as the main photo, as it were. I wouldn't. I give people an option in the pictures that they see on the front page. You can have the same picture for some things. If you're testing out different keyword combinations or something, absolutely. But test the photos as well. So yeah, but is it better SEO wise? Unless Etsy comes back to me and tells me that there's something wrong with having the same picture. Google doesn't like exact duplicated content, but there may be reasons to have more than one picture as well. There's nothing majorly SEO wise in what thumbnail image, what picture you have on Etsy. Etsy's not really looking at the picture, it's looking at the best indicator of, is that listing good, is when we show it to the people, do they click on it? So SEO wise doesn't matter. Think, what's the customer going to like most, basically. What's the best way to update our SEO without risking to lose or affect our rankings? Pick on your least performing listings. Don't touch your best performing listings, basically. Yeah, if your listing is doing so good that you're scared that you would lose what you already have, don't change it. Wait until other listings have taken its place and it's no longer your best seller. Yay, I got to the bottom of all the questions there. I hope you enjoyed that. I kind of liked looking. I get questions all the time from people. I love getting questions from people, but it's nice to see the questions that Etsy were getting, and I hope that was helpful for you all. Let me know in the comments.